now because we just never know. We're just waiting for our
check.
internet to catch up. There it is. There's the old
we on?
Jamie Breeze.
Hey,
Hey. And I wonder if people can hear my voice.
If I
Shamba,
mentioned
hello, how you
that,
doing?
Tom's sort of disembodied voice is about as well. Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. Perfect.
Superb.
Hello, everybody. So as me and Jamie were just saying that we've gone one step further this week, and we've just taken any sort of image of me off the stream.
Yeah, just get rid of him. We don't need him.
I am here. I am a voice. Jamie is up there in the top corner. Hello, Abby. Hello,
Hey,
Shamba.
Abby.
Hello, Tap. Hi, Quietly Wrong. Hello, Kaduko. We are here today to answer some of your How Do I questions. Aren't we, Jamie Breeze?
We are. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good.
Yeah. You've got a list.
I've got a list.
You've got some solutions to some of the questions.
We have.
How is everyone in the chat today? I hope you're doing very well. I hope you're doing wonderfully. I hope you're staying safe. We love you very much. Hope you had a nice weekend. How are you, Jamie? Are you good over there?
I am good. I am liking J to the power B from Tap Giles. Like, it's nice that we've got this mutual nickname thing going on with Tappy
yes.
G. Yeah.
Yeah, Tappy G, man. Like, Tappy G's the one.
I'm into that.
Right. Let's do some How Do I's. Where are we going to start? We're going to start with moving mouths.
We are going to start with moving mouths.
Which was a question from Twitter, I believe.
From Twitter, the person known as Twitter, yes. Well, yes, we can't remember the person, but yeah.
Cool.
We recently dabbled with moving mouths, didn't we? For a video that we did.
Oh, we
went
did,
on Twitter.
yes.
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
And
of course.
I've actually got your little character over here. You can't see
Oh,
him
my
because,
goodness. There I am.
There he is. And all those cards. Just have a nice zoom in. Awesome. I had to.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
There are quite a few different ways of doing sort of like mouth movement and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like the easiest way is to just cut out the mouth entirely, and that is not as gruesome as it sounds.
No, that is. I mean, yeah, that's quite violent, but
it does sound violent, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right.
What you can do. Let me just get the right colour to start with. Nice if I'm on the grid. There we go. And then just create a new object from the jaw, like that. That's a bit too high up. Try again.
Yeah, so just as people are aware, this was a question from James Saldana on Twitter.
Oh, okay, cool.
You want to know how I got these scars? Cut out tool, mate.
Yeah. That's how the pros do it.
Okay, so what have you done there? Exactly, you've used the cutout tool.
So I've just used the cutout tool on the head sculpt. So you just go inside and you go into the tools menu and you click on cutout.
Cool.
And you just like hover over it and then press R2 or X, and then you've got yourself a separate object that you can just move around. But then you're going to want to get a keyframe.
Yep.
I've just realised how I said keyframe there. That's going to be fodder for...
Fodder. Fodder.
Oh dear.
Fodder.
Oh no. It's going terribly.
You're all good.
Oh good. Anyway, you get the keyframe, and then you're going to want to get precise move, and then just slightly open the mouth, just a little bit. Just to imitate the mouth opening a little bit, that's all you need. Maybe just a bit more on the top there. Cool. And then we're going to need a sound.
Okay.
So, it's a shame actually that we couldn't get you to do this sound.
I'm so sorry.
It's absolutely fine.
You're going to have to do it, aren't you?
Yeah. What should I say?
I think you should say
something like painted.
Painted,
faces,
yeah.
Painted.
Yeah. Painted.
Yeah. Chris says scone. I'm going to say scone the proper northern way.
Scone.
There we go. Mr. Casey Jones, painted round sound.
Painted round sound. Yeah, there you go. That's perfect. Perfect.
Painted... Oh, let's try again. This can only go badly. Painted round sound. Cool. And then all you need to do is take the envelope from the sound and then plug it directly into the keyframe. Painted round sound. Oh, that's amazing actually, because just after he says that, his jaw drops in absolute excitement of what he's just said.
Sound. Oh my god!
It's like, oh, amazing. Painted round sound.
So why was that exactly?
That was because I forgot to go into the physical properties and turn it from movable to not movable. Of course, when it's movable, it will just, like, all physical properties will be enacted on that object. And if you get rid of that, then it'll just stay in space.
Okay. Yep.
Cool. Space. But you don't have to use just sound. I'll get rid of that. What I've done over here is I've used the My First Beatbox.
Oh, nice.
On your puppet. So we can get some music going, which is really cool.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
There he goes.
Amazing.
Amazing. So that's how you would animate talking.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to delve into this one a bit more because this is a bit more complicated, because we already had the sculpt from Denji, who did a lot of work on the Impies, the set and the design and stuff, which was really cool.
And brought to life the Tom and Abby puppets.
Indeed he did. And in here I've got a signal manipulator, which just has a bit of a fall off. Just to see if I can put this back on, just so we can see what it would be like without. And you can see when the keyframe isn't activated, it immediately goes back to like there's no signal at all, so it will just like close the mouth immediately. But if you put a bit of smooth falling on it, it gradually goes back to like a closed mouth. So it's got a bit more of a sort of like realistic, well, not realistic, but a more human, organic kind of moving mouth. Yeah.
Nice. Can I beatbox? No, I can't, Enoch.
You can, actually, if you just watch the stream right now.
Yeah, look, I'm going to do it.
There you go.
There you go, look at that.
Perfectly
Nailing
done.
it.
Amazing.
Nailing it. I wonder if Thomas the cat would recognise me if he just looked at that.
Do it, yeah.
Yeah, well, he did just walk past the laptop and didn't really look.
Oh,
so maybe not.
It's a wasted attempt.
Amazing.
Cool.
Hey, Meow Wolf. Hello, friends. How are you doing?
Whoa.
Thank you for tuning in. Cool. So that was an answer to James Saldana's question on how to make your characters talk.
Yeah. It's a nice and easy one just to start off with. So
yeah.
That was a good question, actually, because I hadn't actually done that before until Abby came along and said, can you like make their mouths move? And I was like, yeah, I'll give that a try. What's the worst that could happen? And then we saw the worst. So the next thing I'm going to do is the 3-hit combo thing.
Okay, yes. We've actually had a few questions about making combat, and we on our last animation stream, we actually said that we were going to do this on our next animation stream, so we're getting ahead of the game.
Yeah, that's just how I like to play. And I think I remember Slim Mackenzie was asking about 3-hit combos as well, or just making combos that feel good, I think. So I'm just going to demonstrate what I made earlier. So I've just used the new puppets, the new blank puppets from the pack. And it's just a 3-hit combo. You press square and it initiates the first part of the attack. But if you keep going with it, we'll get a few kicks in there as well. Exactly. And they affect the enemies too, in gradually increasing amounts of power. So what I'm going to do is just have a look into this microchip that I've done. Right. I think the best thing to do, I think I'll just remake this from scratch.
Okay.
I'll keep that there and I'll just power it down.
Case G asks another, how do you make the sound come out of the DualShock controllers?
That is quite an easy one, actually. If you go,
we'll go to that.
Just...
Oh yeah, go do it now. Let's do it now.
Let's do it now. let's just grab a random sound. Finding a good one.
Nice, yeah. I
Oh,
love the
that
name
one.
of ours.
They're
Yeah,
very
nice.
well named, aren't they? Yeah, yeah.
They are.
Now, see if I can remember how to do this.
There it was.
There we go. Is it? Yeah, there we go. It's in the panning section, the third tab along, when you tweak. And you go down to pan style and you just click on controller.
And it comes out there.
I'm sure it just comes out of the controller, but I've got my controller disabled from setting any sound come from it, so...
You can put some jump scares in your horror games.
You could. One of my favourite examples was, I think someone did like the radio sort of speech coming out of the controller.
Yeah, so good.
I love that stuff.
Really Drico, cool. Yes, I think if you as long as you've got a mic plugged in, that's what would record it. You could use your headsets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or your mic. Yeah. Right,
yeah, I'm just using my PSI for any recordings. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Right. So what I did to start off with was make 3 different quick animations with some sound in it, and you can just see there. I'll just play them.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be 3, it can be as many as you like.
Cool. Yeah, it could be one massively long combo thing.
Like a 64. Yeah, that would take some time to... but be worth it in the end, at least you think it would be.
He's been comboing for 64 years.
He's been dead since, like, the second day. Stop comboing me.
Leave the poor man alone.
Oh, poor guy, just reduced to a corpse and just keep showing off. Anyway, what you're going to need to do is have a selector. I said I was going to do this from scratch, so I'll just turn this off. I think I already did that. Yeah, I'll just get rid of everything apart from the animations. And this keyframe, which is also quite important because when you do animations with a character, it's important to... like if you want to make it feel like a serious combo or more like a game, is to slow down the movement of the character as well, because otherwise you're just going to keep running and punching and you're going to be invincible basically. Sure. But also to disable procedural animations on your puppet, because otherwise it might be that there'll be like say there's like a procedural walk animation, and when you're trying to walk you're also trying to do like a punch animation as well, and one will cancel out the other and it will just not work. So it's important to make sure that you go to the 5th tab along, the behavior tab on your puppet, and go down to procedural animation and disable procedural animation and the procedural walk, and then that will be activated when we have like a punch or a kick or something like that. I'm going to have this on the other side so I can remember what I'm doing. So we're going to do a 3-hit combo. And we're going to need a selector, one for each stage of the combo. I'm going to set the number of ports to 3 just to make it a bit easier for us. And we're going to need some AND gates because we're going to be activating like a signal at every point of the combo. Another thing that's really important is to make sure that the timelines are in once mode on the playback mode, because otherwise you get some like really weird stuff happening when you leave it in sustain. So I'm just going to put them in. Someone's just asked what the pink things in the timelines, those are force appliers, which you don't really need to add right now, but it makes it so that when you do actually do the animations for each hit, it affects the enemies when they come along. But what I've also done there is I've tagged the blank sliding puppet is also already tagged with the friend label, and each of the enemies have the 4 label on them. And on here, on each 4 supplier, they detect just the 4, so that every time you punch, it's not going to affect the puppet that you're playing as, because otherwise, every time you punch, you would also be like doing a lot of knockbacks and stuff like that, but really you just want to keep punching. Or at least I do. Let's see. And there's also like a sound in there as well, just to make it, feel a bit better too.
A whippy whoosh.
A whippy whoosh. One of my favourite whooshes, but there are plenty of whooshes in the dramatic effects. yeah, it's all good. Right. Let's see. I'm just going to link each of these outputs from the selector into the respective AND gates. And another thing that we need is a timer, because otherwise, with every punch that you do, it would just wait until you do the next one, the next punch in the sequence, without actually resetting it. Like, you could just press square, then wait like half an hour, press square again, and then you could just keep going. But we don't want that. We don't want that.
No.
Absolutely not. So I'm going to set it to half a second.
Yeah.
And that is the point where it will reset the combo. So I'm going to take the timer finished pulse into the input. The first input of the selector, which is like the first part of the combo. Right. And another thing we need is a counter, which will it will take the input from, let's see, we'll just grab this one. I think it's a square button, so I'll just pop that in there. And this is just personal. I like to use a signal manipulator with the pulse, so that you just get like one frame where something's activated, rather than it being activated for the whole of the time that the counter's on. I need to check that I'm doing that correctly. Yep.
Just try to check the comments.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, just let me know and I'll see if I can get around to them.
Where do I turn off? How do I make a puppet not stand up automatically? I tried making a puppet lie down on the floor, and every time I play it, just stands up again.
That sounds like procedural animation.
Yep.
By default, they will like stand up no matter what, because they're puppets and that's what they like to do. And what you need to do is, I'll see if this works anyway, I'm not actually sure, but I'm guessing they're making it lie down inside. It depends a lot on the scope of the puppet.
Yeah.
So if I just have a puppet and I turn him around like that and then just bring him down to the ground and press play, he's going to get out. But
there he goes.
There he goes. And he does get straight back up. But if I go and disable his procedural animation, at least I think this will work. I'm not actually sure. And we just grab all of him by double tapping on the sort of pelvis area and bring him down like that. Lay him to rest. There he goes. And he'll just stay in that position.
Bam.
Bam, he's gone. He's out for the count now. But the only problem with something like that is he will always have that procedural animation off, unless you were to use a keyframe to turn it back on. Exactly. So in that case, yeah, you could just have a keyframe that turns it off when you're not lying down, and you could turn it back on, and then the puppet would immediately get back up.
Yeah.
Using procedural animation, so it would look really cool. Yeah, all will be well.
Right, back to the combo. Let's finish up the combo, and then we can move on to another level.
Let's do it. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. I did this very quickly earlier, and I was like, yeah, this will do. Now, another good thing that I should have done is make it so that the controller sensor is remote controllable, which makes it easy to test briefly.
Yeah.
But I should have done that earlier. Never mind.
It's all good.
It's all good. We're good. There's some really good questions as well on Twitter. I was really happy
very
with that.
good.
Yeah, really cool. Very, very inquisitive. We have
we'll,
a very...
We'll work through those, and then we can try and find some more. If we've got
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
I saw some really good questions. I knew that I wouldn't be able to sort of like learn and make sure that I can get it right before I did the stream.
Yeah.
So things like a flying puppet, definitely doable.
Oh, yeah.
But I think I'll leave that for the next time we do one of these.
Perfectly fine.
Cool.
Right, so where are we at now?
We're at the animations. So
Yeah.
what I did on the original one is take the on-end trigger, which obviously it waits for the playhead to get to the end of the timeline, and then it sends a pulse. And that will reset the counter, which tells us when we can press square again to activate the next step of the combo.
Next one, yeah.
So on each, I think this is how I did it, on each timeline, I've taken the on-end trigger and done that. I've put the on-end trigger into the reset count part of the counter.
Yeah.
And where else? Ah, yes, obviously. And when the timer gets to the end, it resets too.
Resets itself. Nice.
Cool. I'm just making sure I've got this right before I go back in. That's better. And yeah. So every time the timeline is finished, it goes into the next part of the selector.
Yep.
And the final selector goes right back to the final part of the combo. The timeline goes to the first input of the selector. I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Oh, and obviously the counter has to go to disable the animations. So basically, all this counter is doing is waiting for like an animation to play, and it resets when there is no animation.
Oh, okay.
Right. Let's see if this actually works. This should be fun. Cool.
There we go. Dush.
Nice. And
Yeah,
another
so,
thing. Sorry, go on.
Go on. No, go on.
All right. Another thing that I've done is on each increasing step of the combo is change the force speed of the force applier, so that as it increases, the power of the attack increases too, and the final one is like a devastating 10 meters per second, which I wasn't even sure what it would do, but apparently it's quite devastating. And it's just in a, I think it's a radial thing, but it might be directional. I'll just check. Okay, it's directional, but it's in a certain zone. So if the foe is in that zone, when square is pressed, then they're going to be affected by this force. But yeah, I hope that was helpful.
And as Cobra68 mentions, if you wanted them to actually do damage to characters, you'd need to have them connected to health modifiers as well.
That is true. Yeah. And you could even, if you're clever enough, I don't think I am, use like logic AI. So you could use like trigger zones and stuff to detect when the enemy characters are near the player character, and then they can do their own combos.
Yeah.
And then they can affect the health manager that's already on the player character. But yeah.
Excellent.
Cool.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness. Zypher asks, "How do I say this on stream?" It'll be available to watch as soon as we're done, and then it'll also be on YouTube tomorrow with some timestamps so that you can jump to particular topics.
Would it be helpful if I put this stuff on my profile? So if I publish this?
Oh, you can do as well if you want to. Yeah.
And then people can just go in and remix it and do whatever, which might be useful for one of the later. It's
a tease.
Complicated. Tease.
Right.
Cool.
So what is next?
Oh
well, let's just check if there was any quicker questions that we can fit in between. big topics. Is there a way to reset the imp from a custom button? Oh, I'm not actually sure. I don't actually know. I don't know.
That's an interesting one. Could you do that if you used? I don't know how far button remapping goes on the PlayStation hardware. I know that you can change it, but I don't know if you can change the options button.
In Dreams, probably not. No.
Absolutely not in Dreams. It'd be really cool though if we could.
Dusty Flapdragon, sorry about the messy wires. Just we'll give Jamie a class in a wire mapping.
I'm getting better. At least I can remember what things do, kind of, slightly, maybe, a little bit.
Zypher did ask, how do I make particles made with paint strokes shoot outwards and then fall back down?
Oh, I like this one. I'll do this really quickly, actually.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. This is one thing I learned to do earlier this year, which is really cool. When we actually went to Milan.
Yeah,
And Kareem came over and he was like, I want you to do like the life. You want to give life to the worlds and stuff that he makes. And I was like, I don't know what that means. So I went and made like a lot of waterfalls and stuff like that, just to make the scene a bit more dramatic and nice to look at. And one thing I did notice that you could do is you can have gravity affect a paint stroke even when it doesn't have any physical aspect to it.
Right.
So one thing you can do, let's see, if you get, let's see, I'll just use which is a good one. Good one for particle effects. I like the splat. Splat's good. And just use the rule flex, and then sort of like put them off to an angle like that.
Yeah.
Actually, it might be better if it goes up a little bit and then goes down. I'll just use the heavy one. And then you tweak the painting, then go to physical properties, and then just change the gravity to something like ridiculous.
800%.
800% gravity, yeah, it's totally natural. And again, personal preference, I just like it to fade out. And let's see what else. Yeah, add a lot of duplicates if you want that sort of nice, sort of exploding effect. And then just increase the playback speed a bit, and then add a bit of pulse to it. And I'll just put it on play. There we go.
Douche, nice.
Something cool.
Perfect.
Lovely.
Amazing. Right, what was the next topic we had from
the next topic?
previous questions?
Let me see. Gameplay cameras. Interesting one.
Ah, okay.
Right. I'm going to start this one off with just the basic blank puppet. Because I think the question was related to something about top-down cameras and like an automatic scrolling kind of thing.
Yes.
But I'm going to build up to that.
Okay.
With, let me see. Oh, we already have 2D movement on. That's good. So I think this is just the normal camera that each of the puppets have when you place them down, and you automatically possess them, or you possess them on your own.
Yeah.
And as you move through, you can see it's like very difficult to see like the rest of the world as you're moving through, and you just fall to your death like that because you didn't you didn't know where you were going. Now, one thing you can do to make it a bit more dynamic, I mean, you can change the distance of the camera just by going into the controller logic and then into controller sensor, camera properties, and then changing the camera distance. So if I go back in now, I've changed it to like 6.2 meters away. So when you move, you can obviously see things a bit better now.
Yes.
And you can get through the level perfectly fine. But if you want to make it a bit, I know it was really lucky
that was dicey. No, that was a knee level.
Yeah, I did try a little bit there. I'm just going to put it back to about 3.5. Another thing you can do, just to make it a bit more dramatic, because we like a bit of drama.
We're a very dramatic studio, aren't we?
Aren't we?
Very dramatic team.
Are.
Yeah, absolute drama, absolute scenes.
That's all it is just drama 24/7.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I've already set up a trigger zone. You can put a trigger zone down that detects the puppet, and you take the detected output and pop it into the camera pointer. I'm just going to align this so it doesn't look stupid. Cool. There we go, that's a bit better.
Yeah.
Now the zoom multiplier, the larger that number is, the further out the camera is going to go when you get into that zone.
Sure.
So I'm going to pop it to something like 5. I'm not actually sure how far back that will go, but we will see. Oh, there we go. And you can see that it zooms out, so you've got a clearer... That might be a bit far out, actually. That's...
but that's a good way of getting scale in. So if you were to have like a massive castle in the background, you could then reveal it.
Yeah, and then you can point at sort of like objects that you want the player to look at, which is really cool. But what I don't really like is that it takes so long to zoom out.
Right. Okay.
So
you want it to be a bit faster.
Exactly. So another thing you could do is just use custom cameras for your puppets. So I'm just going to get rid of this trigger zone now. Now, let's see if I can remember how to do this. What I usually do is I have a block, and I'm just going to make it not collidable and invisible. And I'm going to preview invisibility off. Right. And I'm going to put a microchip down. And I'm going to put a tag down as well. Now this tag's important because I want this block to move in 2 axes only. I only want it to move in the X and Y. But I want the Z axis to be exactly the same. So when I move the camera, it will move left to right and it'll move up and down, but it won't move forwards and backwards.
Sure.
So I'm just going to call this one camera Z.
Label your logic.
Label your logic. That's what I've recently learned to do. And I'm just going to pop a follower down. There we are. Now, the cool thing about this that I really like with followers, using followers for cameras and stuff like that, is you can change the strength at which this piece of logic actually follows, like the puppet and stuff like that. But for this part, I'm just going to put a random huge number in there, so it goes to 1,000. And this is going to follow camera Z. But it's only going to follow it in, let me check, in the Z, so you want to take the strength in Y and the strength in X all the way down. Change the max distance. Just if you're going to have like a huge level, then you're going to need that to be right up. And I'm not sure if this matters, but I'm just going to take the damping down in X and Y. So if you can see there, when I move the block, it immediately sort of like goes back to that sort of Z value. So it's constantly following that. But you can have another follower on this microchip as well. And I'm going to make this one follow the puppet. I think I've already put a tag on there, but I'm just going to check. Yeah, I have. Now this one is going to follow in the X and Y axis. So I'm going to move it down, move the strength in Z down, and move the damp in Z down.
Yeah.
And the rest of them, they can go right up.
Right.
Now, let's see if this works. There we go. Now, you can see, I'll just reset the scene there, but when I press play, you'll see that the camera slightly moves to the left, and that is because it's following the tag which is on the microchip on the puppet.
Right, yeah.
But a cool thing about that is, when I put the camera down, you'll always get that effect that when you turn to the left, the camera will move a bit more to the left. So you can see a bit more to the left, and if you turn to the right, it will move to the right as well.
Tap asks, why have you got 2 followers in there?
I've got 2 followers because I'm following the puppet on the X and Y axis, but I'm also following the camera Z
on
the Z axis.
Yeah.
I think that's an okay thing to do. There's probably something like way easier that I've just completely forgotten. But yeah, that's
but it's your own,
that's my excuse. So that'll always be in the. It'll always have the same position as this tag. So if I move the tag, it will move as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to pop a camera on here now. Let's see. I'm going to move back a bit. Right. There we go. So now now that there is a camera, like a custom camera for the puppet that moves a bit more to the left when he moves to the left, a bit more to the right. But what I also wanted to do was, I should have left that trigger zone there, but I'll just move this along and just change the parameters for this one. A bit more on that side too. And then I'll pop down a wireless transmitter. This probably isn't the best way of doing this, but we'll see.
As long as it gets the job done.
As long as it gets the job done, that is true. I'm just going to call it in zone. So this is just going to detect if the puppet is in this particular zone.
Right.
And then I'm going to have another camera. I'm just going to quickly change the transition time so we can get a better transition when we do this. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Or a lot of it.
A lot of it.
A lot of it. A little bit and a lot of it. And I'm going to have a wireless receiver on here. So this is going to detect when the puppet is in that zone and when the signal has been sent from the wireless transmitter. Although would it be... Now that camera is always going to be on.
Right.
And the second camera is going to be the zoomed out camera. So what I'm going to do is put a knock gate down as well. So when this isn't getting a signal, it's going to go straight to the first camera. But if it is getting a signal, it's going to go to the second camera. And hopefully, because there's a 1 second transition time, it'll be a bit quicker than just using a camera pointer like I did before. Fingers crossed. No.
And you did a me.
I did it you. That's not good. Right, now let's see why that didn't... Probably missing something really obvious. It's probably just the... Yeah, that's why. If I change it to scene, that should probably do the trick.
Okay.
And I'll just move this back a little bit.
Bit more space.
There we go. So when you get into that zone, it moves out a little bit, so you can see a bit more. You can make it a bit more dramatic if you change the position of the cameras too. So if I zoom in a little bit on that one, and zoom a bit more out on that one. Actually, what I could do as well, because it starts off... I don't like how that starts off, because it looks like there isn't enough space to see all of the puppet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'll check see if that's okay. Change it a bit more. Bit of trial and error. Cool. So now we're a bit more zoomed in than before.
Yeah.
But when we get to that section, it zooms out so you can see a bit more of the world.
I lead you the whole level.
I keep falling off.
Welcome to my world.
It's a good world. you learn a lot from your mistakes.
That's why I do it. That's 100% why I do it.
Exactly. Could tilt the camera a bit.
Yes. Give
If
it a
we
bit
were
more of a
to
dramatic
just move it like that a little bit, then we get a bit of a different... there we go. So if we have something in the background that's slightly to the left, we can focus on that now. But that is actually ideal. If we had like something following the puppet, we could like change it to like look behind you if we're doing it on like a 2.5D kind of movement.
Yeah. And 2D to 3D would just be about camera positioning, wouldn't it?
Exactly, absolutely. But another thing I want to do before we finish off this part of the stream is have a look at like automatically moving cameras.
Okay.
So I'm going to get rid of these two now. And I'm going to get rid of this and this because we don't need them now. Actually, I'm going to keep that black one. I tell a lie, I'm going to keep this one.
Can't believe it.
I lied.
Can't believe it.
Sorry, I've abolished all trust between us, haven't I? I apologise. So what I'm going to do is just use this block. Now I think this is what I can't remember who I was talking to earlier, but he said he was having like trouble with, I think it was keyframes on a timeline, I'm just going to go through this as I would. I just have a keyframe at the start that holds absolutely no information whatsoever, so we have a default point. I'm going to make this a bit longer, to about 12 seconds, I think.
Right.
And then pop another keyframe down. And then, because the camera is on a microchip that is surface snapped to the block, we can just move the block and the camera will move with it. And I'm just going to move that all the way to the end of this little level section that I'm definitely not going to get to the end of because I keep falling down this bit. So I'm going to I'm going to cheat a little bit and pop down another. Yeah, I'm just giving myself a second chance. Because if that doesn't get me, then the camera going too far probably will. And what I'm going to do is just have a blend.
The
just
chat,
a linear
knows,
blend.
Man. The chat knows that you're cheating. You've
Man,
revealed your secrets.
I'm so sorry. Like, people have these like high esteemed sort of opinions of me. It's all a lie.
And now they know. Now they know. Llama Quest is just
what though?
Invisible flaws.
I'm going to make this invisible so it doesn't look like I'm cheating.
Yeah. So anyone tuning into the stream as of now.
But the thing is, even in edit mode, you can still see it because I've got invisibility.
Invisibility. Yeah.
If I leave it like that, it looks completely fine. I can do that.
Yeah,
and if it looks like I'm flying on something,
everyone watching the stream now, you're part of a secret now. You cannot spread this message.
Cannot say a word. Right, what I'm going to do, just for the sake of brevity, I'm going to take the output of the trigger zone and pop it into the timeline, which I've just put to once, so you can go into that trigger zone once and it will just activate that timeline and then it will move the camera. But another thing that I just remembered is that when you do die, which I will, because I will find a way to die, is to send another signal to reset the timeline. Because otherwise, it will keep moving and then you'll be dead, but the camera will be still moving, so you can't actually see where the puppet is. So I'm going to quickly pop down. What do I need? A transmitter. And the is dead output goes into the transmitter. I'm just going to call it dead, because that's not morbid in the slightest.
DED.
DED. Actually, yeah, it needs to be just DED. Did.
The little things.
Did. It is, isn't it? You've got to keep yourself going, haven't you? Yeah. And I'm going to set this to scene.
He died. Oh man, he died.
He dies. He died.
He died.
He died. Oh, I love that. I'm going to do that for my next, like if I ever do another stream that includes like someone dying.
He died.
I
think that was from the stream with Kev, which
the puppet stream.
Yeah, we were on. Yeah. So good.
Good times. He died. Right, let's check this out and see if this actually works before I faff too much. So you can see at the start, that's the initial position of the camera. So we know that the block is there, but the camera's there and it's already activated, but we're just going to go to this trigger zone. And there we go. It's moving the camera like an auto-scroller.
Yeah, look at that.
Oops, look, I didn't die. Hey.
I
cheated death.
Yeah, you
Magic.
are amazing. And we must all worship J plus B.
Thank you. Another thing I've just noticed that once it got to the end of the timeline, it immediately went back to the beginning. So once you do get to the end, that's it. You can't see the puppet anymore because it's gone right back to the start. So another thing you can do, just to make it a bit easier, so it does stay at the end, is use a timer. And I think it was 12 seconds or something we went to for the end of the sequencer. Use the output of the receiver into the timer, and then use the timer output and plug that into the playhead. Now all that does, because I've seen some people ask how you do this before, all that does is it, like the timer output is a value between 0 and 1 based on how far along the current time, like it's just the current time out of the target time. So if it goes to like 6 seconds, then that'll give like 0.5. And you can see, as I moved it there, you can see that the playhead moved along with it.
Yeah.
So as you move the current time, it goes all the way along the timeline. So what I'm going to do is just get rid of that. So when this timer starts, it'll actually keep going, and then once the timer gets to the end, it doesn't actually reset unless you make it using the pulse and put it into the reset timer. So now, when I play it, oops, something didn't happen.
Oh no!
Uh-oh. What didn't happen?
Problem solving.
I love problem solving. It's great. It's
Yeah. Yeah, that aha moment.
Ah, that's why, because I've used dead. DED dead. What am I
Dead plugged
doing?
into the wrong output. Yeah.
We don't actually. Well, we do need that, but we don't need that in the start timer. We need that in the reset timer.
Yes.
And we need
Not dead.
Not dead, exactly. And we need the detected output from the trigger zone to go into the start timer. So once the puppet gets to the trigger zone, it will actually start. Let's go.
Sure. Go, go, go.
And I'm definitely not going to die this time. I'm actually going to use my skills.
You can do this.
Nice.
I always believed in you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Tom.
I always believed in you.
Thank you, Tom's disembodied voice. Pro gamer moment. Thank you, Jack. Thank you very much. Now, I think that was everything I wanted to do for the gameplay camera thing. But obviously, if the guy I was talking to earlier just watched that and he was like, absolutely not, that is not what I meant at all. I think he's going to send me a video as well, so I can probably just fix that on my own time, so I don't mind.
Nice.
It's all good. It's all good.
Amazing. Cool. Right. What was next? I think we got
next
time
one,
for
the last one. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. See if I can explain this in 13 minutes.
In words. You can do this.
In words. That's asking a lot, Tom.
That's quite a strong cover page as well. Like that.
It looks like it could be like a horror game, couldn't it? Like,
or a Casey Jones game.
One puppet sitting in one chair for 1 hour, too.
Yeah. I'm calling you out, Casey. This is your cover page for your next game.
We're calling you out, man. Right. So this one, this one is. I think someone was asking, how do you actually save the position of an object? Once you
leave the
if you leave the dream and then come back, it will be in that same position. Now I went one better and added an orientation thing, so it actually saves the orientation of the object as well. So I'm going to look like a right fool when I go back into this and it's reset the position.
It's gone somewhere else.
No, it's there. It's still there. Thank goodness.
There it is. Look at that.
Whew, I'm good. Yeah. It was actually a lot more complicated than I thought it would be to do this.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try and explain it as best I can. So basically, I just got a chair from. I think this is one of our chairs, isn't it? Not one of our chairs, but
one of our chairs. That's what all the chairs in the studio look like.
Yeah, they all just look like that. Oh no! But we're back.
Let's just check. That
Are we good? Are we good?
Hold on. We're good. Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
Cool.
That's
right, where were we? I think there may have been a bit of a missed moment, so maybe go back.
All right,
a minute or so.
All right, cool. So a lot of maths is involved in this, but it's not too much. And the only caveat of this is that you need 3 variables to save the x, y, and z coordinates of each object. So at that rate, you're going to need 42.
Right.
I think that's the most amount of objects you could have, because you get 128 variables per dream, I think.
Yeah.
So if you do this, maths. It's all about the maths. Now, now you can get the position, the sort of global position of an object just by popping a tag down on. Well, what I've done here, I've put a microchip down and I've put that on the chair. It's just slightly under the seat, so it's like the central position of the chair.
Right.
So what you do after that, I'm just going to get rid of these for now. You go to the tag outputs, and there's one called Scene Space Transform. So if you go into Gadgets and then you get your splitter, and then take the output of the Scene Space Transform and put it into the splitter, you get 3 different extra bits that you can get from it. But the one we're mainly interested in, because it's the easiest to do, is just the position. And that gives you the x, y, and z coordinate of the object relative to, let me check, the floor. I think. Yes. So I've put this right in the middle. That goes right in the middle of the scene. So if I just rewind a little bit, do some undos. I'm going to pop some number displays down because that'll make this a lot easier to understand. I'm speaking for myself, of course. Everyone in the chat has probably figured it out completely, and I'm just like, what is this thing that I've done? I'm going to move this up a little bit. Move this one down a little bit. Right, so I'm going to take the A value and put that in there, the B value in that one, and the C value in that one. And I'm just going to play the scene. And I'm going to start moving it around and see if this is anything. Cool. So when I move it to the left there, that is a negative X value. So that is, if we have the floor back on, just think of it of like some kind of graph. When you move it left and right, it changes the X value, which is the one on the top. When you move it up and down, that's the Y value. So you can see it moves up when you move the object up, and it goes back down to negative values. And if you move it forwards and backwards, and it's going to change the Z value too. Just like that. Now it's important to understand because those are the values that we're going to be saving when we come out of this scene or out of the dream. So I'm just going to take those back out.
Now, obviously, if you reset your progress on a dream,
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Which is a saving grace because if you completely mess it up, then you can just reset it and then it's like nothing happened. It's amazing. Now what I've done here is a bit of like a catch-all sort of thing. What this does at the start of the scene, it finds the variable value of the X, Y, and Z coordinates of the chair, and then it sets that using a follower. Now the cool thing about a follower is you can set the speed right up, the strength right up, and the damping right up as well, and you can plug in coordinates into the target position and it will immediately put it there. So if I just put random numbers in, it will correspond with certain coordinates in the scene itself.
Okay.
But what I've done here is I've made 3 different variables called position X, position Y, and position Z, just for this one object. And it gets them immediately, puts it through a node, and then it forces it through a combiner and it sets the position immediately. But once it's done that, after 0.1 seconds, which is like, I think it's like 2 frames maybe, and then it gets to the end of that, it pulses the second input of the selector, so it no longer can read that information. So it's not going to be like saving the information over and over again. It's not going to be loading it over and over again.
Yeah.
And when it's on output B, it consistently saves its current position into some variables. So if I press play, you'll see that this will go on immediately, and then it will, as soon as I start, it will go off as well. So those nodes, they're stopped completely, and nothing's going into the follow position now because it sets the position of the chair instantly as soon as the scene loads. But then what I've done on the chair itself is I've made it grabbable. Now there are all kinds of ways that you can like change the position. You could have like a counter that just goes up and down. Let's say you have to press up and down, and you can change like the Y coordinates of something or the X coordinates. But I've just chosen to do this. Now all you do is you can just grab the chair, and when you're not grabbing it, it activates a gyroscope, so it doesn't affect the rotation of the chair at all. But if I go back in now, you can see that the the values of the variables have changed. So we can see that it's now 1.7 instead of 0 because it was originally in the middle of the scene. Now that's position X. So all you need to do is just look along the floor guide, and that's about 1.7 because each division between each line is 2 units. So as you can see, it's just before the second unit there.
Oh my goodness, I just knocked everything over in my lounge. But we're okay,
goodness.
we're okay.
We're good, as long as you're good, Tom. As long as you're good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Amazing. That is good to know. Now, Now that's all for the position. I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to go through orientation, which is a bit more of a... It's a bit of a strange one to explain because it involves a lot of keyframes and it only uses two additional variables, but that's because you can only rotate it sort of left and right, which is the yaw of the object, I think.
Yeah.
But I think this is another one that I can just release, and then people can just see themselves and probably make it a lot easier to understand. Better than I had, at least.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
Yeah, which one?
Explain exclusive gates, please. We could do a whole hour-long stream on
whole thing on those. Well, let's finish off. Let's finish off this tip, and then we can we can call it. But we'll obviously do more how do I streams because
absolutely
in the future, in the coming weeks.
That's a good name of the stream as well. How to exclusive, just how to exclusive.
Yeah, how to exclusive.
Now I should explain as well what I've done with the variables is I've made it so that it doesn't restore the value when rewind, so that makes it easy to change the position of something and then just rewind the scene, and then you can see if it's been saved already.
Right.
Which is really good for testing as well. So I've just rewound the scene, and you can see that it's in the same position that I've left it.
Yeah.
And I can change the orientation too, and then just reset, and it's still there.
And it's there.
But I've also added a little quit button as well that activates the doorway, because otherwise I think if you come out of the scene not actually activating any doorways or anything and then you go back into it, it'll probably reset the position.
Yeah.
If you hadn't saved it already.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Amazing.
That is how you save the position of an object. I hope it wasn't too complicated because it was for me.
Well, thank you for looking into it, Jamie, and finding out how to answer that question.
And thank you to whoever, and thank you to whoever gave us that question, because it was really interesting actually. I didn't know how to do it before this, and then I thought I'm going to learn how to do that, and then show people how to do it.
Every day is a school day, even for Dreams devs.
It absolutely is. It's cool. It's all good.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Jamie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. We will be back on Thursday for our usual community creation stream. I saw VV has created their first dream walk, which is awesome.
Oh, very nice.
So we will check those out. We should add some more walks to that as well.
Yes, we can. Yes, it's all set up so we can just add them in. It's amazing.
Yeah, which is brilliant.
Cool.
And we will be back on. So we're back on Thursday for that, and then next Tuesday, all being well, Rich, our lovely Auntie Rich. He's going to run through with Siobhan some game creation tips, which is going to be a lot of fun.
That's very interesting. I'm going to learn a lot.
Especially for people new to Dreams as well. It'll be super useful.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
Stay safe, everybody. We'll talk to you on all the channels that we talk to you on normally. We love you very much.
Oh, have I gone? I'm still here.
I think there he is.
I accidentally hit the PS button. I accidentally did it.
We're all good. Right.
We're good. Now we can
say
end.
bye now.
We're going to say bye now. Without any glitches. We're going to do it properly.
All good.
Okay, cool.
All right. Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.